Said this during my stream, and I'm going to be saying this again now to all of you guys. When it rains, it pours in Manchester. When will we learn as fans? When will you learn? When will I learn? Things aren't going to change. We're on to the 6th manager since Alex Ferguson left, and we're still getting bopped, played off the park, embarrassed week to week, and now it's gone so far that a team that came into the Premier League 6 years ago, they're here showing clips to Ansu Fati in his reveal of League One and League Two matches. That's the level, not the current ability of the team, but that's the level and the scale of the club that we've only been able to beat in 15 matches since they came to the Prem 9 times. They've won the other 6 times. That tells you all you need to know about how far Manchester United have fallen. We've got their manager completely outclassing our manager. After a 15 to 20 minute spell when we looked great, the new formation seemed to be working. The team seemed to actually know what they were doing for once. And the minute we were hit with a sucker punch, one bang to the chin, it all fell apart. All the good work we had started to do fell apart. And as Mike Tyson said, and I'm sure all of you guys know the quote, everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face. And the minute these Man United players get one lick to the jaw, finito, they're done, dusted. And that's what they showed again today, because the momentum switched like this. Possession stats literally reversed. It went from us dominating the possession to them for the entirety of the remainder of the game, just upon conceding. We're going to get into it now though. We're going to talk about the player ratings, going to look at a few things in here and there. But just before we get into the player ratings, I just want to show you guys this, because I'm sure there are a lot of stat merchants out there. A lot of you guys do like your stats, so I'm going to try to incorporate some stats here and there in the channel for the guys who are more statistically inclined among you guys. Let's open it up. Here we go. So we played a formation today. We started, if I just get rid of Onana temporarily for you guys here now, get rid of that, show you here, boom. We played actually the 4-1-2-1-2 diamond. Of course, it isn't depicted there, but that is what we played. So we played with 2 strikers. They were sort of splitting at times to almost be, you know, like your almost wingers at times. Rashford was operating very much as a left inside forward as opposed to a natural striker. He was picking up the ball, as you can see on the stats there, very much so on the left hand side. Everything came through the left-hand side primarily, and as we've been saying for a very long time now, the right-hand side is being neglected. Had a right winger in Palestri, who plays games for Uruguay, but is not trusted enough to play for Man United, so much so that we had to completely change our formation. Bring in a player in McTominay who's twofold problems. He's crap and knows he's not wanted. We decided to change the formation to accommodate him, just to negate any talk or possibility of Palestri being the one to start on our right hand side. Giving us balance? No. Look at Brighton. Only a 10% differential in the amount of attacking opportunities they had on the left and right hand side. Literally one of their goals came from the left hand side, their left, and 2 of their goals came from the other side. Literally shows you how balanced they are as a team, the way they've constructed that team in terms of where it comes either from the purchase of players, the sales of ones who don't fit the system, and the manager's way that he's implemented the tactics to make them a balanced threat on both flanks. I'll scroll up again a little bit for you guys. So as much as the formation was working to begin with, the statistical reports and the summary from this match will literally tell you that they, of course, were strong at finishing. They were clinical. Any of the sort of high percentage chances they got in and around our box flew in, essentially. They were very good at putting in through balls beyond us, and they were effective at creating goal-scoring opportunities through our flanks. ZERBI did not expect us to play with a diamond. Of course, why would he? We hadn't played one under this manager yet. We bring out the diamond in this game. We outplay them. We impact the midfield. We're able to control the ball, creating chances. ZERBI makes a switch, drops back, Lana and Welbeck into the midfield, overload the midfield now onto us. So now they've got 5 players dropping into midfield. outperforming us now, and they start to make patterns, overloading the wings consistently. Dallow's getting doubled up now. Reguilon's getting doubled up now. They're just spamming cutbacks, and no midfield runners being tracked. Boom, boom, boom. We're conceding goals left and right. Literally put those goals on loop. Have a go. Go download those clips of the goals we conceded, put it on loop, and you'll just be realizing we're conceding the same goal time after time after time, and it's not changing. Odegaard's goal. Eriksen didn't track him. Boom. Matasar in our box. Midfield runner into the box, not being tracked. Boom. As much as Wolves weren't able to score versus us, the amount of times they got midfielders just swarming into our box and they're not being picked up. As much as you could say there's tactical issues, I'm sorry, but not tracking your man, that is a player issue as much as you could say tactical, because Eriksen could see Welbeck running off the back of him and he still did not track his man. He left him to have the freedom of Manchester to go and score past us. Did the same thing versus Arsenal. Watched as Odegaard crept up into our box, and you think them being both Norwegian, that he would understand the qualities of his international compatriot, how good Odegaard is, and he would think that, oh, I know how good this guy is in training, I'm going to stop him from shooting from the edge of our box. Didn't do anything. Replicated again today. Watch Welbeck straight into our box and score. Man's giving it the big one, bro, doing all the salutes and that. This guy's saluting at OT. That's how far we're falling. An ex-player just comes and he's dunking on us again. How many times now has that been? And look at us. Again, here are highlighted for you. Poor at finishing. It just shows again, poor at finishing. Man United, age-old problem we've been having. Caught offside often. Long ball spamming. Favourite long shots. Big Man United, we're playing against Brighton, and the style of play we've had and a lot of the chances we worked came from long shots. Remember Bruno's one? Of course we scored the Hannibal opportunity, but this is Manchester United, and we're being reduced to long balls to fish for a goal against Brighton. Hove Albion. Let's get into the player ratings, because if I keep talking about this, you know, if you don't laugh you cry. They say that about Manchester United all the time these days. We'll get into it though. Boom. Okay, so Onana's the first person. Definitely wasn't a 6, I'll tell you that much. So Onana, the problem with Onana is the types of goals he's conceding is the same old every single time. It's players taking shots from inside our box. How often do goalkeepers like Ederson and Alisson have to make saves from shots coming in and around the 18-yard box multiple times a game? Out of the 10 goals we've conceded United this season, I believe maybe 3 or 4 he should have really maybe done a bit better. But we're talking about here, let's not get it twisted, guys. Some of you people don't actually understand how good elite level Premier League players are in comparison to normal football players. A lot of you guys don't understand it. If you are consistently giving an attacking player opportunity to shoot inside the box throughout a game, more often than not, expect to concede goals. Doesn't matter who you have in net, Prime De Gea, Prime Buffon, Casillas. At some point, if you are giving away chances to elite players in the box, you will concede. You will lose the game. Onana, yes, should have done better. João Pedro, you got 2 hands to it, should have done better. I don't give a crap. Should have saved that João Pedro one. However, when you let people like Pascal Gross shoot from the edge of the box, you're letting Welbeck shoot from the penalty spot. What do you want him to do? He's not a magician. Man's not Houdini. What do you want him to do with that? The main sticking point I have for him today, though, was his distribution. You're brought in to be a ball-playing keeper, hit the balls either long into the channels to help us moving forward, help us play out from the back, and he's not doing any of that. And of course, I must say, based on the fact that part of the issue he had with Cameroon was the fact that they didn't want to play out from the back, they wanted to constantly hit the long balls. The fact that he's hitting so many long balls currently is most definitely was a tactical thing today. But the issue is not the tactics necessarily, because Brighton are very good in the press. It's the implementation from Onana today was poor. You're hitting long balls which were aimless frequently. And even if you do want to hit the strikers, aim for Højlund, please. Why are you aiming for Rashford, who'll be ducking? This guy ducks out of challenges. Day in, day out. He does this like a turtle. Recoils his neck like a turtle. Acting like he wants to challenge for the ball. But really and truly, you know as well as I know, Rashford don't want it. Any physical confrontation, 50-50s, he does not want it. I've seen him get bullied by Saka. I've seen him get bullied by everyone. Anyone can get at this guy. Light work. He's light work. So when you're hitting a long ball, don't give it to him, please. And my brother, I'm Cameroonian myself. Start saving some shots, please. For Fernando today, have much higher standards for him, especially the way I saw him perform in that Champions League final. I need a lot more from him. Moving on now. Going to be Dalot. Dalot had another impressive performance. I know you see left back there. He was obviously right back for us. Dalot was impressive. Was able to keep Mitoma out. Before the game, me, myself, a lot of United fans, the propaganda that was out there was Dalot versus, AWB versus Mitoma. That was what it was built up to be, that challenge there. But when we saw Dalot, don't even lie, you were worried too. I personally was worried because I just had flashbacks, PTSD from the League Cup final where Maximin had this guy on strings the entirety of the game. Got him booked early and he had to be subbed for Wan-Bissaka, who then went on to lock down Maximin for the remainder of his duration on the pitch. I was worried, you were worried. But Dalot absolutely controlled Mitoma the entirety of the game. I bet you Brighton fans, when they realised AWB wasn't the one playing and instead it would be Dalot, they probably literally caught life. That bit of second win, they thought, oof, Mitoma probably be able to get in there and cause havoc. But Dalot, same thing he did with Saka, completely pocketed him the whole game. And the only times he was able to get any sort of joy and maybe influence the game even slightly was, again, like I spoke about before, the overload started happening, 2v1ing on the fullbacks because of the lack of midfielders coming across to help out. Started to get those cutbacks flowing. And even then, anytime it was a 1v1 confrontation, Mitoma was getting slept day in, day out, and he's even getting bypassed. Dalot was able to run past him like he wasn't there several times going forward too. Personally, I'll be giving Dalot a 6 out of 10. Above average performance, nothing really spectacular per se. And also, as much as I don't attribute the loss to and the goals conceded just to the defenders, you are part of the defense that conceded 3 goals at home, so you can't be getting more than a 6, maybe a 7. Boom. Next, on to Martinez. This one, it pains me. This one here pains me because when this guy came in, he was a breath of fresh air. He was arguably our best player last year. Was amazing playing the ball out from the back. Was essentially a midfielder playing in the centre-back position. But this year, ever since that injury and his recall to the starting lineup, been misplacing passes, not fizzing them through the lines anymore, diving into challenges. He's looked weak at times, losing 1v1 duels that he wasn't in the past. And I don't really see much of the leadership anymore. I don't see, where was that fight, the hunger, the high fives, all the body, all that, the chest pumps, the high fives and that. It's all gone. I don't know how many of you guys have noticed, but that's all gone, you know. The high fives, the chest pumps, everything's gone. How much of that do you maybe attribute to the fact that Varane's not in there? But in games with that Varane didn't play, I still saw Licha really putting fire in the bellies of the players around him. But the guy's just looks like a shell of his former self at the moment. Whether we'll see a difference when he builds a bit more match fitness as the season goes on, Varane comes back into the team. But it's not looking good at the moment. I can't lie to you guys. We're just keeping it real. He's one of my favourite players, but it's not looking good at all. It's got to be a 5 for me, no better than that. And the reason why I can even give him a 5 is because throughout the game, he wasn't, I can't say he was woeful. He did a couple of good things here and there. But getting skipped past by Gross, It's not exactly like he's prime Messi or Ronaldo you can skip past. Pascal Gross is just a decent player. He's in his 30s and he plays for Brighton. I mean, it's not that good. You can skip past. So for me, no more than that. Simple. Boom. On to Linda now. Another guy. I always call this guy the Zara model. It seems like he'd probably be better suited on a catwalk than on a football pitch at the elite level at times. And I say at times because as much as Lindelof can go on runs where he looks amazing, he's flawless, he can even provide assists from the back with his long balls, he's winning headers, he's strong in the tackle. He routinely reverts back to type and shows you why he is no more than a squad option. Because when the going gets tough, or in certain moments where you need someone to assert some dominance on the pitch, he shirks responsibility. Same way a lot of other players do, but we're talking about Linda here right now. And yeah, we'll call him Linda. Ball goes to the near post. Lallana's able to open up his legs, pause, let the ball run through, and Welbeck's able to tap it in. If he had had that assertion, that aggression, he gets across swiftly, even if it means a little bit of an elbow, a little bit of a push, or nips in front and kicks the ball before he's able to let it through. Guy didn't do anything. Where are the dark arts of football? Where are the dark arts of defending? You get in their little elbow, throw him off his game, he's not able to let the ball run through, he's forced to touch it, the opportunity is dead. Instead, give him the freedom to just let the ball run through like his FIFA Street and just run amok in our box, basically. I'll give his partner a 5. He can hold a 5 as well. They both made a mistake leading to our goals. They weren't woeful throughout the game, but I'll give him a 5. I do believe that the midfield was more to blame than the centre-back partnership as to why we conceded the 3 goals. As much as they had somewhat of an involvement, if the midfielders had done their job, it would have still been less of an issue because the goals came from midfield into the area. It wasn't from wing play or whatever within our box and the centre-backs not being able to, let's say, stop a cross or a whatever kind of scenario. If you get what I'm trying to say. So 5 for me, simple. Reguilon, he was my man of the match. I'll say it now, keep it nice and easy because it's not like there's a lot to talk about positive in the game. So Reguilon was my man of the match. He surprised me, and I would say that if he continues this form, Luke Shaw should be worried. And me saying Luke Shaw should be worried, this is not an agenda. Don't have agenda against Luke Shaw. I'm not going to call him Shawberto Carlos like some of you man seem to think he is, but there's no agendas here. Keeping it short and sweet. Yeah? Luke Shaw is the kind of guy that if he's not looking over his shoulder at next man vying for his position in the team, he doesn't want it. When he's comfortable, he starts to revert back to type because that is the nature of most of Man United's players. The minute there's not smoke behind them, someone literally behind you, running you down like you owe them money, they don't want it. Luke Shaw was starting to dwindle. His performances were poor at the start of the season. His performances in the tail end of last season were poor as well. Wasn't overlapping a lot. Wasn't applying pressure. Was defending. Very passive in defending. Look at the game against Tottenham. The goal from Kulusevski. Jogging back. Doesn't come out to press Kulusevski. Today, Reguilon showed fight. Showed aggression. Constantly overlapping, and that's playing in a formation where he was forced to go up and down, up and down, up and down, yet he was able to still maintain that intensity and still provide an outlet for Rashford, but also come back and do his offensive duties. He performed well today, some very neat, delicate touches, bringing the ball down whether he's running into midfield or whatever, putting a couple of good crosses. It's a decent performance all round, and if he can continue this, Luke Shaw better be worried if he gets a run of games and continues on like this, because if he continues like this and maybe even improves, Luke Shaw's got a long way to go back into this team. And that's only a good thing for Man United, because if you can get Luke Shaw performing even better than what we've seen before in the past and consistently, and Reguilon also doing well, only a bonus, right? Boom. Next, Casemiro. This one here, yeah, my favorite player of the club. No agendas here. I'll put it in right now, 4. You do not rank, you have to rank a player yeah, sometimes also based upon their capabilities. Someone of his caliber cannot be putting in performances like he's done recently. You just can't, and you will not be getting away with it. Of course, someone of his quality had some good moments. The switch out to Rashford was great. Nice. Couple of bits here and there. But when I'm seeing you not tracking your runners, you're the DM, but we're seeing cutbacks flooding into our box and you're not there to shield the area. He has been known as being one of the best midfielders in terms of box defense. Him and Varane are crazy at box defense. But now I'm seeing our box get swarmed and he's never anywhere to be seen when our box is getting swarmed these days. He's misplacing passes that he wasn't prior to the season. I just don't know what's up with Casemiro, and I don't like what's going on, but it needs to happen. It needs to change, because now that we're seeing this current version of Casemiro, even when he's playing with Eriksen and Bruno, which was that trinity in midfield, which did so well for us last year, now my eyes, I'll tell you now, my eyes are open, they are clear. I can see what the issue is. When he was operating at that world-class level, that Casemiro level we all spoke about, he was doing such a carry job on United that he was making the dross around him look decent. He was making normal, ordinary players in our midfield look decent. People like Eriksen, whose legs are gone, he was making him still look decent because he was operating at a level higher than everyone. So now that he's dropped to an ordinary level in terms of his current form, he's no longer able to carry the team with his current performances. And because of that, everyone around him is looking exposed because the carry job of Casemiro is gone. That's what's currently happening. And until things change, it is not looking good for us. Amrabat maybe can change things, but if Casemiro can't come back to anywhere near his prior form, we're dusted. Very simple, we're dusted. Because we still need to see whether Amrabat will even perform at this level. It's not looking good. Eriksen, I'll just leave you with the 4 there. You can hold that too. Started the match brilliantly. A couple of roulettes here and there. Some good passages of play. I liked Eriksen's performance in the early part of the game. He looked upright. He looked ready. He looked hungry. But then, I'm seeing you watch Welbeck run into our box and go and score. You're there looking around. And I'm there looking at you. What were you doing? Against Arsenal, Odegaard, what were you doing? I said it before and I'll say it again. I keep having to sing the same song time and time again because people are doing the same things time and time again. These guys just don't learn. When there's fans out there talking about these Man United players lack football intelligence, this is not me saying that necessarily about Eriksen, because of course we all know he's an intelligent person, and I reckon he's probably an intelligent guy in general on and off the pitch. However, his lack of physicality means that there's going to be a clear disconnect with what's going up here and what's going on down there in his legs. He can't currently match the two things. He may see the runner, and maybe I'm being unfair in saying he's not trying to get there. But let's be serious. This guy is incapable of getting there. Even if he had started making a move to track Welbeck when he saw him, who thinks that he would have been able to reach him? When we don't have the ball and he's playing, 10 men. When we're playing, we've got the ball, like we did in the 21st 20 minutes, 65% possession, he looks brilliant, he's bopping it, roulettes, spraying the play, ooh, it's nice, sexy football. The minute we ain't got the ball, disappears. For that, again, it's a 4, and until Amrabat, and I don't want to say, but Mount, we need people that can move. I'm sorry, we need people that can move. We're just going to keep losing games if we can't have midfielders that can move. It's gone on too long. These static players in our midfield. We need Amrabat. I don't like Mount too tough, but we do need him, whether it's on the bench or whatever. We need someone that can run around. Obviously, Mount isn't like a Fred. He does have some quality. Let's be fair here, guys. He does have a certain level of quality. We need people that can move. I love Eriksen, but it's not it. Bruno. The one way I can describe the way Bruno is getting treated currently, in my opinion, is he's getting taken for a joke man. And the United fans, they would probably say he is a joke man. I'm not one of those guys personally, but he's being taken for a ride because he's the captain and he's willing to die for the badge, die for the club. I'm seeing, man, in one game playing cam, centre mid, CDM, right wing, and finishing the game as centre back. Our chief creator, our captain, the guy who's created the most chances in the Premier League since coming to the Premier League, is being shipped out all across the pitch and then finishing the game as centre back, and we actually nearly considered another 1 or 2 goals because we're playing a centre mid who's probably tired against fresh legs in attacking positions. Yep. So it wasn't one of those Bruno performances where he was particularly just like abrasive to the eyes, where he's making your eyes bleed watching him at times, just misplacing passes, losing balls in bad areas, shooting from stupid places. It wasn't that kind of Bruno performance. It was actually quite measured. He actually controlled the ball very well in midfield at times. He played it pretty simple, to be honest, compared to what I normally see from Bruno. A couple of overhit passes, but you're always going to get that when you're trying to get balls in behind. My issue is he just didn't get enough of the ball, barely had a chance to do anything. He just didn't do much. But he never went missing. He constantly worked hard for the team. And again, like similar with Casemiro, someone of his level is not enough. It's not enough to just work hard, because that is the mandatory requirement for playing for a team of this level. You work harder, not just harder than everybody else. He does that. He'll always have that checkbox ticked, but his quality needs to be shining through in all these games because he's got it in abundance, irrespective of what anyone wants to say. Bruno, you get a 4 from me just because of the 5, actually. He's getting a 5 from me. He was marginally better than your Casemiros. Let's get into the next guy now. This next guy now. Yep. Scotty McToenails, McTalentless, whatever you want to call him, yeah? Don't be calling my McSauce, McTalentless. That's what I'm going to call this guy. Casper's Ghost, The Grudge, Paranormal Activities. Bro, what's that movie called? Bruv. The Woman in Black. Any sort of ghost, Casper's Ghost, any sort of ghost type movie or media you can think of, that is his representation on a football pitch. The guy goes missing all the time. 22 touches in the midfield where your partners around you are getting 50 plus touches. What were you doing? Pray tell. And okay, if you're not going to be that guy who necessarily gets a lot of touches on the ball because there's more talented players around you, you better be the donkey in that midfield that is breaking up all the play and giving it to those better guys around you. But again, I'm seeing goals being scored from Brighton's left-hand side into our area, which was his right-hand side of the pitch to cover. He wasn't tracking Gross, didn't track João Pedro at all. Didn't really come and help Dalot out in covering. So you're not even going to do the donkey work for us, but you're not going to be able to pass through the lines, shoot, create, or anything else, dribble past people. Does nothing on the ball, was doing nothing off the ball. And like I said before, this is a guy that as a man likely doesn't want to be here, not because he's no longer a United fan, but because as a man he knows he's not wanted, and at the same time he's not good enough. So why is he here? Pray tell. The Glazers is the answer to that question, and until we are able to routinely get trash like this out the club, I'm talking about him as a player, not a person, trash like him out, we ain't gonna win games. We ain't going to be able to look at our bench and make changes. We'll get onto that as well, our bench later on. McTominay, he can't get any higher than a 4. And you might be wondering, after I bashed into him, how's he getting a 4 when Casemiro and Eriksen got a 4? Because one, they're better players, I expect more. Also, he touched the ball such few times, he didn't even get the ball enough to be crap. He didn't get the ball enough to be crap, so the worst I can say is a 4. Absolute garbage. Rashford now. This is someone who is starting to test the patience, I would say, of every single United fan. There is pressure not just building upon Ten Hag, also being built up on Rashford. There's a lot of people currently calling for this guy's head, asking for him to be dropped. Why is he still in the team? He's selfish, all these things. And I can't lie to you guys, I agree with it. I have to agree with it. He does some good stuff here and there, hits the woodwork with an opportunity, skips past players, need to make that assist for Højlund. Perfect. But the amount of times he's taken shots from positions where he could have passed it to Højlund is absolutely disgraceful, and it cannot run. At this level, we are currently in a bad run of form. Very bad run of form. We need points on the table, but even more important than necessarily just points, it has to be wins, and we're looking for performances. Any way to break this streak of bad results and start to build some momentum. Get some unity in the team. Get some life, some energy back into the team. We right now need wins above all else. Even he should be prioritizing how do we win this game as opposed to how do I keep on scoring. A lot of fans last year were speaking that almost the way Rashford performed last year was he was having a great season almost in a vacuum, independent of how the team was performing, because he was sort of doing everything kind of by himself. He wouldn't press much off the ball. He wouldn't really help out his fullback too tough, and he wouldn't really create chance for anyone else. However, long ball from Bruno, couple of interplay here and there, he goes and scores, ends up the season with 30 goals. Great season, don't get me wrong. However, we're seeing it being translated this year. Now that the goals have somewhat dried up so far, and he's not really scoring, we're now being able to pick up on all the other things that he was actually doing last year, but people weren't talking about it because he was scoring. That's the difference. And now that we have a serious striker, not Wegge, playing as our striker, we now are expecting more from Rashford, and he's not delivering. We now want him to do things as a winger, playing at the left wing position, and not just as a striker playing in the left wing position. We need him to actually do wing play. I'm sure some of you guys probably watched Jeremy Doku yesterday. You would have seen the amount of chances he put on a plate for Haaland. He put all those chances on the plate for Haaland, but was still able to get a goal himself. But Rashford doesn't have that thought process. You do realize you can get goals and assists. It's not one or the other. If you give up this chance this time to score and give it to Højlund, it doesn't mean that your chance won't come to score later in the game. But he doesn't think like that. It's how do I score? How do I score? I know this celebration's got to his head, but I won't lie to you, I ain't trying to see that celebration too tough. Rashford, for me, he gets a 5. That's overall because he did do some good stuff, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But there was a lot that pissed me off throughout the game, and it needs to change, or his head's another one on the chopping block to get got straight onto the bench. Rasmus, for me, was most definitely a 6. Good holder play. The goal was well taken. The way he shrugged the defender off, pulled back, made space for himself with a good touch, finished it. Good play. Couple of good touches here and there. Some good holder play, showed off his strength, his speed, everything like that. But what I would say is, similar to when Ronaldo was here at the same time with Van Nistelrooy, obviously they're both diet versions of these guys. Diet Van Nistelrooy in Højlund and diet Ronaldo in Rashford. Højlund, I can foresee a couple months from now, especially since we're Statement FC, a bust up between Højlund and Rashford. I'm obviously not for this, but I can see it. I can see Rashford getting gripped up in the change room, in that chokehold by Højlund. Man saying to him, brother, pass the flipping ball. And you can tell that Højlund's a warrior on the pitch. I can tell he's that kind of guy that doesn't take no nonsense. Bro, Rashford, he better be careful, because if he gets clubbed by Højlund, he's going to stay down, So he needs to be careful out here, because I ain't trying to hear news of Rashford going to the infirmary and it wasn't because of an injury on the pitch. So Højlund is a 6 for me. I think there's going to be great things to come, and he got subbed off, of course, because of his lack of fitness. It wasn't a tactical thing. Just putting that out there before them start moving mad. Now we're going to the subs. This ones will get out of the way nice and quick. It's just a flat 5. Garnacho came on, didn't have much of the ball. We were still getting bopped off the field when he came on, so no offense to him, but didn't do shit. Boom, Palestri, I don't know what this guy needs to do to get a game. He was told that he couldn't go on loan, and now that he hasn't gone on loan, he's not getting any game time. Ten Hag needs to find a solution to that right hand side problem. Now that both Mason Mount is still injured, Sancho and Anthony, we know what's going on with them. Pellistri should be the natural replacement, but for whatever reason, he's being deemed to not be ready, not be fit, not be whatever it is. He's not being deemed to be fit to play. Why did you keep him? That question needs to be answered, and it's something that we need to all keep an eye on, because there's a lot of decisions I'm starting to see looking a little bit hayward at the moment. Martial, another one that's just a flat 5, did niche when he came on. But I mean, he's a broken man. We've all said that he's a broken man. He is finito. His legs are gone. Breadsticks for hamstrings. Not going to expect much from him when he comes on. Hannibal. He will actually get a 6 from me. I'm sorry to say, but unlike a lot of you fans, I did not celebrate the Hannibal goal. Is that because I hate Hannibal? Of course not. I was happy he scored. Happy United scored. It was a great goal, and I would love more than anything to have been jumping up and down, doing backflips after he scored that goal. But I knew once that goal was the goal that we got back, the game was finished. And I'll tell you why. Is that goal replaceable? A shot from that distance, hit with that velocity into that part of the net. Is it going to be replicated during the match again? Were we going to score another one of those bangers? No. At that point in the game, were we being able to create chances at all? No. So I saw a goal that couldn't be replicated being scored. So that told me, crap, we've just scored now with about 15 minutes to go. Scored a goal that I know we're not going to be able to score that goal again, because it didn't come from any patterns of play. So I knew to myself, shit, we're dusted. If the goal had come from some intricate play, little cut back to Martial or something on the edge of the box or whatever, and we finished there. So, okay, cool. Let's get the momentum. Let's see if we can work the same pattern, do some good movement and score. And what happened? Of course, we did nothing. Didn't create any more chances at all the entirety of the game. And it just petered out, getting bopped off the pitch at home. Sorry to say. That is my player ratings. Thank you guys for watching. On the subject of whether Ten Hag, I'm in or out in terms of Ten Hag. I am Ten Hag in, but I am also worried for his future. I'm very much worried for his future. I can see a world where by Christmas, this guy's already gone. And that would be what, the 7th manager or the 6th manager gone in 10 years? Insane. Say that when there is a failing business, you look at the constant. You don't look at the moving parts in the business, the constant, and that has been the Glazers. They're still here, and the managers are being chopped and changed. That tells you all you need to know. I don't need to get into that on this stream right now. It's been a long day. It's been a long weekend for us United fans. I can't even look at maybe a bit of hopium on Arsenal losing. They've gone on to win that game last minute, sort of thing late on in the game. They've beaten Everton. So there's no hopium, no copium for me. Here's what it is. But Man United, we need to grow into it. We've got the Allianz Arena and Bayern Munich coming up next. It could be a long week for Manchester United fans, with maybe anywhere from, who knows, we could concede as much as 7 or 8 goals between this weekend and next weekend. It's not looking good, bruv. Word to Castillo. Peace out, man.